Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining us, you're welcome. My name is King. I'm a videographer / video editor. Today I'm going to be explaining how to create a new sequence in Premiere Pro, and I'll also be explaining the Premiere Pro sequence settings. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you the 5 ways to create a new sequence in Premiere Pro. I'm also going to be teaching you how to match sequence settings to existing footage or videos that you have in your project panel. I'll also be explaining to you how to create a custom preset for your Premiere Pro sequence settings, and after that I'll be explaining to you how to create multiple sequences in Premiere Pro. I'll also be explaining to you how to reveal sequence in project and how to change your sequence settings. So you have opened up Premiere Pro and you're ready to dive right into your edits. You've already imported your footages and you've organized your footages. You can see my folders here. I've organized my footages. I have a folder called bride shoes, bridegrooms and images. If you don't know how to organize your clips in Premiere Pro, I'll suggest you'll watch my previous video that I posted. I will drop the link right in the description. So you might be tempted to ask me, what is a sequence in Premiere Pro? A sequence in Premiere Pro is simply a visual assembly of your video clips and your audio clips that you arrange in your timeline. So this is an empty timeline panel where our sequence will begin to take shape here. So now let's go ahead to talk about how to create a new sequence in Premiere Pro. There are 5 basic ways to create a new sequence in Premiere Pro. So I'm going to take you from the easiest step down to the, well, they are all very easy, but I'm going to take you through all of them from the one that I consider to be the most easiest step. Now, the first step to creating a new sequence in Premiere Pro will be to drag your video or your clip, the clip that matches the sequence you want to work with, and drag and drop directly on your timeline over here. If I let go of this cursor over here, it's going to import that video clip that I selected into my timeline and automatically create the sequence for this project using the resolution, the dimensions and the frame size of that particular video. But I'm going to cancel this so I can show you the other ways of creating a sequence in Adobe Premiere Pro. This is the easiest and the most straightforward way of creating sequence in Adobe Premiere Pro. You use it when you know that your footage settings will match your final video settings. The second technique for creating a new sequence in Premiere Pro is to come here to your project panel and right-click at any portion, but you're not clicking on any file. You have the option of creating a new item. Then you come over here and you create a new sequence. So when you click on this, you have the option of creating the name of your sequence. Another thing you will notice is that Adobe Premiere Pro has created presets, sequence presets for you. We have the ARRI, we have the NTSC standard, we have the widescreen, we have the DV PAL, we have a lot of presets over here. I would advise that you just leave it the way it is, because click OK. But I'll hit cancel because I want to show you the other techniques for creating sequence in Premiere Pro. Now, if you want to see all the options available to your new sequence, you can manually adjust any settings here by clicking on settings over here. Now, when you come over here, you have the ability to change the editing mode, the frame per seconds, and the height and the width. But if you are new, like I said, I would suggest that you leave it the way it is, because I realized that you don't really need to go through this technique. There are other easier ways of creating sequence in Premiere Pro. The third way of creating a new sequence in Premiere Pro is to move right up here to File, then click on New, then click on Sequence. Or you can hit the keyboard shortcut Ctrl N on your Windows or Command N on your MacBook. Now, when I hit this, you will notice that I also have the same options of creating the sequence name and settings and all of that. So I'll hit cancel once again. The fourth way that you can create a sequence in Premiere Pro is to select on any footage that you want your sequence to align with and drag that sequence to this dog-eared box over here. And the moment you release it over here, you will notice that it has created a sequence for you using the resolution, the frame size, and the dimensions of that clip. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this also. So I've deleted the sequence that I created from my project panel over here. The fifth and the final way of creating a new sequence in Adobe Premiere Pro, go to a folder that has a dimension that you would like to work with as your sequence and drag that item directly into your Premiere Pro timeline. Now, you might not want to work with this file, but you can just use this file to create your sequence. And you will notice that automatically we have created a sequence here in our project panel. You can see the sequence with the green label over here. Now I can decide to delete this item and retain the sequence. So any clip that I am importing into my timeline will be working with this sequence that I have created from the first file that I dropped into my timeline. Now the next thing we want to talk about is how to match sequence settings to existing footage. You would realize that we have created a sequence from the image that I dropped here earlier. So if I drop, for example, a video that has a different dimension, you will receive this pop-up that says this clip does not match the sequence settings. Change settings to match the clip settings. So you have the option now of changing the sequence settings to match the video that you have dropped, or you have the option of keeping the existing sequence, making your footage that you have dropped or your video that you have dropped align itself to the current sequence settings. Now it's left to you to decide whether you want to work with these video settings that you have dropped, or you want to work with the existing sequence settings. It doesn't really matter for me because this is just a tutorial, but I'll choose the option of keeping the existing sequence settings. Now the reason why I chose this option is because I want to show you how to set the frame size of clips within your timeline to match your sequence settings. So what if you have multiple clips and they all have different frame sizes, different dimensions? You can come over here to your clip, select your clip, right click your clip, and then go to either scale to frame size or set to frame size. The moment you do this, you will notice that your video or your picture, whatever it is, will attempt to adjust itself to fit that frame size. So now this video has changed its dimensions, its frame size, and its resolution to try to fit the dimensions of the sequence settings that we had over here. Another option you could be to come over to Effect Control. You must have selected the clip. Come over to Effect Control and manually scale your clip to fit. Manually scale your clip to fit the sequence of that project. Now you can decide to uncheck the uniform scale size over here, and then you'll also reduce the width and all of that to try to get the sequence settings of the clip that you are working with. But I'll just hit Ctrl Z. Another thing you will notice is that there are black spots over here and a black line above. The reason is that the video is still finding it difficult to align itself. That's why it's very important that before you start your project, you have a basic understanding of the sequence you want to work with. So the next thing I would like to talk about is how to create multiple sequences in Premiere Pro. Come up here to File, click on New, then you move down to Sequence, and then you hit OK. Automatically, you will notice that you have created a new sequence. This is the first sequence. This is a new sequence that we have created here. You have the option of creating multiple sequences within a project. Alright guys, so the next thing I would like to talk about is how to reveal your sequence in your project. So if you're looking for the sequence, maybe you have a lot of files and then you cannot differentiate between lots of files over here and you're looking for the sequence, what you need to do is to come over here to the top where you have that particular sequence selected, and you right click, then you scroll down to reveal sequence in project, and automatically Premiere Pro will select that sequence for you in your project, and that is how you can identify your sequence in your project panel. So the next thing I would like to talk about is how to create presets for your sequence. So all you need to do is to come over here to the top where you have the sequence of your clip and right click that. Then you can now come over to click to create preset from sequence. Now with this option you can now change the name of the sequence. I can call this sequence Canon, and then you hit OK. So once you have done that, you can go to File, New, Sequence to see your new sequence that you have created. So we have presets here that Premiere Pro has created for us, but if you go down to Customs, you will see custom presets that I have created now. Now this preset is called Canon, and this is the preset that I created. So if you are creating a new project and you want to work with the preset that you have created, just come over here and click on Canon over here and click OK, and automatically you'll be working with that preset that you have saved for future purpose. Now guys, basic things you need to know before creating any sequence in Adobe Premiere Pro. The first thing you need to know is that if you bring in a landscape video or a landscape image into your timeline, you'll be creating a landscape sequence. And if you drag in a portrait image or a portrait video into your timeline, you'll be creating a portrait sequence. Another thing I would like to inform you is that when creating your sequence, do not under any circumstance drag a music file as the first file that you import into your timeline. The reason is this: Premiere Pro is going to try to create your sequence using that audio file that you have dropped. Now the result of that is that you're going to be seeing a lot of glitch in your video while you are editing. So please do not do that. I have made that mistake many years back while editing. So please try to avoid that. Once you have done that, it is impossible to edit using that sequence. You will have to start all over again. So that's it, guys. If you like this video, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel and drop your feedback in the comment section. Thank you guys and have a lovely day.